Thank you for interviewing with me today.
You're quite welcome.
So we're just gonna ask you a few simple questions just for our documentary. Okay? Is that okay with you?
That's fine.
All right. We'll start out with some easy questions, and then we want to get to the kind of the harder hitting questions.
All right.
First off, what would you say makes you most happy?
My family, my kids, my grandchildren, my brothers and sisters, and nieces and nephews. Family, fun, friends.
Good, good answer. So, family seems to be a really important thing to you.
Yes.
So, what's something that you do to relieve stress in your life?
To relieve stress or relax, I think the thing I do is read. I like to read, and it does if I'm highly stressed or angry or upset. It usually can calm me down.
Maybe just enough time.
I can see this is going to take a lot of editing.
It sure will. What's one of the most stressful situations you've been in?
There's so many stressful situations I've been in my life. I can't even begin to try to pick one particular stressful situation. Well, maybe when I was addicted to freebase and cocaine, um, my family was going to take my daughter away from me. That was an extremely stressful time.
Mm. Bouncing off that question, what's... Because I can see the audio going. That's how I know I can hear them. I'm only gonna lose like 5 points for background noise, whatever. What's the most painful memory you remember?
Probably the same. I don't know. Again, there's so many bad memories in my life and bad things that happened to me as a child that I can't really tell you the worst of the worst. It's really not even feasible because there were so many bad things.
Well, how do you deal with it, or how did you deal with those situations?
Well, to deal with them, I kind of compressed emotion and disengaged myself, which is kind of what holds my depression now, is that I spent so much time depressing my emotion, depressing my feelings, that it's built up inside me and does cause depression even now.
So, I guess that answers one of my questions I was going to ask is, do you suffer from depression? But how do you deal with that on a daily basis? Doesn't it seem to, keep you from doing what you want on a day-to-day basis?
It does to an extent, and sometimes I don't get what I want to get done because of the depression. But my depression is not sadness; it's more of a depressed emotion. So I feel nothing, and I don't want to do anything. So it does make things hard to do sometimes, but I try to push myself past it.
Remind me to check my puppy to see if he has a tick on the back of his ear. That's gonna make it in. So, with dealing with your depression and everything like that, would you say you're happy with where you are today?
Yes, I have a good life. I have a good family. I have a good job. I have a nice house. Um, Going to school, getting good grades. So yeah, I have a very happy life. And again, the depression doesn't mean I'm not happy. It just means I sometimes don't feel things the same as other people, like, you know, happiness, like something really happy happening. To me, it's just kind of dull or, you know, muted because of the depression.
Go to a different one, which, so with, you know, sometimes having to go through life, not wanting to do stuff, being depressed and stuff, has it ever given you the feeling of wanting to end your own life?
Not anymore. I don't have suicidal thoughts. When I was younger, yes, because I did not have a handle on my depression. And also at that time, I didn't realize there was anyone that really cared for me. And that was the biggest thing, is that I didn't think there was anyone that loved me. Since I've had kids, that's never occurred to me again. It's just not a thing that would happen.
So, in a way, you think your kids really helped, you know, flip your life around for the better?
Definitely. It took away the aloneness. It was always that I didn't think there was anyone that loved me, period. So when I had kids, I gave my kids love. My kids loved me, and I didn't have to worry about their love. I knew that they would love me because I loved them and I gave them love.
So, last question. The whole reason why I'm doing this video in the first place. What words or any sort of information with dealing what you do, or dealing with you deal, that's terrible, okay. No improv. So, just to kind of get to the point of why I'm interviewing people that have dealt with stress, depression, and all that, is because I want to put it out as a PSA. Is there something you might want to like pass on to others who might be dealing with the same things as you are? Maybe some encouraging words?
Yeah, you're never alone. I mean, there's always someone that loves you, and you got to realize that it might not be someone you know loves you like you think they do, but they do love you. And you got to remember that and reach out to people and reach out to God. I'm glad I finished because that's Jamie. The door's open, babe.
Is it?
Yeah.
So, now that I've asked you what makes you happy, what's something you find kind of stresses you out?
Work-life balance. So finding that happy medium between how much you work, how much time you have off to spend with your family, because obviously I work to take care of my family, but I also want to be with my family. So there's that constant battle of which one wins at that time.
I'm sure that's a big struggle. So, what are some ways you relieve the stress that you may have?
Well, I try to make sure I take my family out when I do get time off. So we spend pretty much every minute that I'm off, we spend together. So we go to different things, the zoo, museum, try to enjoy the time with the family as much as possible.
So, talking about stress and everything, what's the most stressful situation you feel you've been in?
Well, I would say probably going to be a deployment or two as far as the length of being stressed. I mean, individual moments may not have been as stressful, but just the extended period of time of stress.
So a little heavier of a question. What is the most painful memory you remember?
Painful as in physical pain or mental pain?
Mental.
Well, to be quite honest, I don't know if I could pick just one, but I would say one of the one that stands out the most would be a friend of mine while I was deployed in Afghanistan stepped on an IED and he lost both his legs and his arm. And while we were saving him, he was screaming to be let go. So definitely something that stuck with me. He committed suicide in 2017. So another thing that kind of drug up the past when he committed suicide, because we knew he didn't necessarily want to live the way that he was living, but for selfish reasons we felt we needed to save him, and then forced him to live that way for years.
Well, off camera. Okay. So, how do you deal with that whole painful memory, or how did you deal with it if it still weighs on your heart?
Well, there's some things you can't control. And the things that you can't control, you can't put too much weight on. If you put too much weight on things you can't control, you drive yourself crazy. It's just how it goes.
So, do you feel like you suffer from depression, or have you ever felt like you've been depressed?
There's times where I'll have a bad few days, bad week, something, maybe depression, maybe just a funk, whatever you want to call it.
We all have funks. So, with that, has this one's one that I hate asking, but with those feelings, at any point, have you ever felt the urge to take your own life?
No. I mean, there's been times where I thought about it, but I wouldn't say an urge. So, times where it's crossed my mind, maybe it would be an easier option, but never that there was ever a decision to do it.
So, in those times, what makes you for sure know not that? In those times, what's the one thing that makes you know that you're not going that route?
I would never leave my family behind like that.
Short to the point. So, now that all that is those questions, are you happy with where you are today?
Yes, I am. Took me a while to get here, but with my wife and my kids, daily support, it's been an easy ride. A long ride, but an easy ride.
You got a lot of support in your life?
Not directly, because I'm usually the one that everybody leans on, but indirectly, having those people in my life are support. So taking my mind off of my issues to deal with their issues is also a form of support.
Last question. Just because of the project I'm doing, it's more of a PSA for people who feel like there's no way out other than hurting themselves or, committing suicide or anything like that. is there anything you might want to like pass on to others who might deal with the same things that you've dealt with?
I think the strongest thing is that if you feel like there's no other option, it's definitely time to start talking to someone. So if you need the help, get the help. Don't hold it in. Don't wait until it's too late. Talk to somebody immediately. It may not be the easiest thing to do, but it's usually the most important thing to do. So if you need that help, get the help. Even if it's just a friend that you feel you're confident and comfortable with. Sometimes just speaking it out loud will make it either make sense or not make sense to you. So definitely get help, find some support.
Well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.